Seems like anytime people see photos of my Mark 12, they have questions about how I built it out. Hey, it's long overdue for a tour of it, so let me walk you through from butt to tip, and I'll tell you everything that I've done to it. So we're looking at a Daniel Defense Mark 12 that I've customized in a few different areas. Let's start off with this stock. It's a B5 stock. Originally tried the Magpul PRS stock. Did not like it. The length of pole was not right. It's non-adjustable. This one has adjustability to it, so that works really well for me. Now you can see that I have a Law Tactical folding stock adapter here. They make 3 different versions of this stock. A short, standard, long, I believe is what they call it. This is the long. And if you're going to use Law Tactical, you need the long because it moves the cheek piece forward so that it compensates for the spacer or the spacing of the Law Tactical adapter. On the bottom of the stock and my bag rider here, you see some customization. This is a wedge that I designed and 3D print that mates into the bag rider. Now what happens is when I nudge the bag forward and backward, that gives a subtle elevation to my trajectory or point of aim. And the reason I do that is instead of pinching the bag, which can induce movement, I just simply move the bag, let the gun rest on it, and then get settled on the trigger and send it. So Law Tactical folding stock adapter, standard, nothing unique about it. But inside of here we have the JP silent capture spring. Big fan of theirs. This is an H2 that I'm running in mine. Next, standard Daniel Defense grip and rip charging handle. We have the MK machining vertical grip. These are replaceable panels on them. Therefore you can put whatever texture you want. They offer an assortment of different textures. Standard safety selector. Trigger is a TriggerTech Diamond. If you're not familiar with these triggers, they're fantastic. The break on them is really crisp. I have mine set, I think at 2.5 pounds. Let's give it a try. And it broke about 2 3/4 pounds. And however, the break is great. The reset is peculiar. If you've not experienced this, the reset of a typical AR-15 trigger has a lot of springiness to it, pushing your finger forward. This has virtually no spring. You lift your finger off of it, and it's kind of like the trigger almost lags behind it, it feels. So for the purpose of a long-range precision rifle, love it. If it were a duty rifle, wouldn't be as thrilled with it, but that's not its intent or purpose. So we've got Picatinny rail that's standard across the top of the rifle. That brings us to our optic, which is the Vortex Razor Gen II, 3-18, 50 millimeter objective lens, Defender lens caps, have the variable zoom adjustment lever here, makes it really convenient and handy. I have it zeroed at 50 yards and I have a little label there just to remind me of so many rifles I lose track of how I have zeroed them. I always return my turrets back to 0 after shooting. I always set my parallax at 50 after shooting. Basically, I just have it set for the 50-yard 0 next time I pick it up. The optic is mounted in a 3-inch cantilever recon mount made by American Defense Manufacturing. That takes care of this half. Let's move to the other half. So continuing down the barrel, all standard until we get to the gas block. I replaced that with a rifle speed, and I love it. It is just fabulous to cut back on the amount of gas, unnecessary gas coming back. And of course you can see I'm running a suppressor, so that's just increasing the gas ever so much more. So I have that set on 6, so it's basically choking the gas back to about 50%. If everything is linear in the way that they set it up. And that also mitigates recoil impulse. This thing just lays on the ground when it's shot. It's not a lot of jumping around. Bipod is a Picatinny Quick Disconnect Atlas bipod. Bought it originally as the standard length, added the 3-inch leg extension. Seen here are the rubber feet. Usually I'm running the claw feet, but didn't want to chew up my counter. The suppressor is a direct thread. The reason for that is I don't want to add any weight to the barrel, which affects barrel harmonics, which affects accuracy. This is a KGM R6 suppressor. It has a through flow design and adjustable port end cap system, which is kind of their signature trademark. Directs gases out on a radial around the perimeter of the suppressor. That thing weighs only 7.9 ounces, so it's very lightweight. So what else can we talk about? Ammunition. I shoot this 800 yards with 1 MOA accuracy. And to achieve that, you've really got to dial in your ammunition. You're not going to use 55 grain store-bought ammo with out of the boxes 3 MOA accuracy, and now you're stretching it out great distances. You're just not going to get great results. So with a 1-to-7 twist in the barrel, which is what Daniel Defense puts in their rifles, you're looking for a heavier projectile. And I have a couple or several different ones here. Let's talk about them. If you search Wikipedia for the Mark 12, it's going to connect you also to Mark 262 ammunition. That's what's in this ammo can. And I have no idea if any of this even exists in the world these days. I know when I bought this was very difficult to get. But that's the ammunition, the Mark 262 Mod 1C, that was developed for this rifle to achieve the long-range trajectory that it's known for. I've chronographed that. I've also chronographed Black Hills ammunition, 5.56, 77 grain OTM, which is supposed to be the same as this, and I get different results. Albeit they're slightly different. I don't really see them as the same identical ammunition, but perhaps that's just also the difference between my lot number, which is BHA 004, versus whatever lot number this was. But I've got those if I want to use them. That's what the boxes look like inside of here, very much military type packaging. If I couldn't get these, then I'd reach for this, the S&B Tactical 77 grain. That's a good choice too. That chronographs very well and I get good results for it. But what I actually load in this is, I'll call it my Mark 262 clone that I copied off of other people's recipes on the internet. And while I'll give you the recipe right here, there's so much more that goes into loading ammunition about neck tension and other brass prep that this is just scratching the tip of the iceberg. But it's 24.6 grains of Varget. Lopua brass is what I'm using. I trimmed the brass to 1.750 CCI 400 primers. It's a Forster custom home die at 2.45 neck tension. And overall length is 2.245. So that's my recipe, but again, more goes into it than that. That's the story of my Mark 12. Hopefully that answers a few of your questions. If you have more, love to hear from you. My email address is info@SureShotTactical, and you can find me in Scottsdale, Arizona.